Good afternoon, students. This is Arvind, Assistant Professor, Department of EEE, PVR Viswadaya Institute of Technology and Science, Kavali. So, in the previous classes, I discussed about the earlier discoveries of HVDC system, and after that, I discussed about the comparison of HVDC and HVAC systems by using economics of transmission and voltage control, technical performance, and reliability concepts. And after that, I discussed about the limitations or disadvantages of HVDC systems. Okay, and after that I discussed about the advantages of HVDC system and applications of HVDC system and comparison of HVAC and HVDC system in a tabular columns by using the tabular form. And after that I discussed about the types of DC links. Okay, and now in this class I'm going to discuss the power handling capabilities of HVDC line. Okay, so firstly, I will start with the diagram. So this is the schematic diagram of HVDC transmission system. So in this one, I am taking the HVDC on the sending and receiving end. We are taking the AC transmission, and in between those two, I am using a HVDC line. So for this HVDC line or HVDC transmission, we have to use the rectifier and inverter. So here in the rectifier station, we have the voltage that is VDC1, and on the inverter station, we have the voltage that is VDC2. Okay, in the line, we have the DC current that is ID is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. Okay, this is the DC current. So by using this diagram, we have to determine the power handling capabilities of HVDC line. Okay, so in this one, so here the DC power in control by adjusting the voltage between rectifier voltage and inverter voltage to get desired DC current. Okay, the DC power that is PDC is in controller by adjusting the voltage between rectifier and inverter that is VDC1 and VDC2 to get the desired DC current IDC. So why we are getting these terms VDC1, VDC2 and ID and VDC. So actually to maintain the constant end voltage in a specified limits we have by using those things we have to provide the power handling capabilities or to increase the power handling capabilities of HVDC line or overhead line. So for that one I am taking the DC current that is IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So here R is the resistance of DC circuit. So here R is the resistance of DC circuit. So in this one the DC power output that is PDC is equal to VDC into IDC. I am taking PDC is equal to VDC into IDC, and I am putting that one as equation number 2, and IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R as putting as equation number 1. So here VDC is equal to, that is the total voltage of the HVDC line, that is VDC is equal to VDC1 plus VDC2 by 2. So here VDC1 is the voltage of the rectifier station, and VDC2 is the voltage of the inverter station. So here VDC is equal to, that is the total DC voltage at the DC line, HVDC line is VDC1 plus VDC2 by 2. So from equation 1, that is IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So from this one I am writing VDC1 minus VDC2 is equal to IDC into R. So I will rewrite this equation, that is VDC1 minus VDC2 is equal to IDC into R, and treated this equation as equation number 3. Okay. Next, so here we have two ways we can control the power flow in a transmission line, in a HVDC line. That is through, one is tap changer control and other is phase angle control. So generally we have two control methods to control the power flow in a HVDC line, that is tap changer control and another one is phase angle control. So in these two ways, phase angle control is faster than the tap changer control. That's why we are using this phase angle control. So from equation 3, that is VDC1 minus VDC2 is equal to IDC into R. So from this one, from that equation we are writing VDC1 is equal to VDC2 plus IDC into R. So treat this equation as equation number 4. Okay. So from the equation number 4, VDC2 is controlled by the inverter terminal and IDC is controlled by the rectifier terminal. Why the IDC is controlled by the rectifier terminal means, so if you observe the previous diagram, so in this one, the IDC is in between the rectifier station and inverter station, but mainly it is nearer to the rectifier station. That's why I'm telling this point, that is so VDC2 is controlled by the inverter terminal and IDC is controlled by the rectifier terminal. Okay. So next one, firstly we have to know the DC power at the rectifier end. So for that one I am taking the DC power at rectifier end, that is represented with PDC1. So that is PDC1 is equal to VDC1 into IDC. So here PDC1 is the DC power at rectifier end and VDC1 is the voltage at the rectifier end and IDC is the DC current in the HVDC line. Okay, so here IDC is equal to IDC1 and IDC2. Okay, and substituting the equation 1 in equation number 5. So what is the equation number 1? That is IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So substitute that IDC value equation in this fifth equation, that is PDC1 is equal to VDC1 into IDC, and after substitution we have the equation that is PDC1 is equal to VDC1 into VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So multiply VDC1 with VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. Finally, we have PDC1 is equal to VDC1 square by R minus VDC1 into VDC2 by R. So treat this equation as equation number 6. Next, we have to obtain the DC power at inverter end. So previously we obtained the DC power at rectifier end, and now we have to obtain the DC power at inverter end, that is PDC2 is equal to VDC2 into IDC. So here PDC2 is the DC power at inverter end, okay, and VDC2 is the inverter DC voltage and IDC is the DC current in the HVDC line. Okay, so here also IDC is equal to IDC1, that is equal to IDC2, and substituting equation number 1 in equation number 7, that is equation number 1 is IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R, and equation number 7 is PDC2 is equal to VDC2 into IDC. So in that equation we have to substitute the IDC value, that is IDC is equal to VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So that is PDC2 is equal to VDC2 into IDC is VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. So after substituting and simplifying the equation, that is PDC2 is equal to VDC2 square by R, okay, plus VDC1 into VDC2 by R, okay, minus VDC2 square by R plus VDC1 VDC2 by R. So treat this equation as equation number 8. So here the negative sign, that is minus VDC2 square by R, indicates that power is received by the inverter end. The negative sign indicates that the power is received by the inverter end. And next, we have to determine the power loss in the transmission line, that is power loss P suffix L is equal to PDC1 minus PDC2. So from this one we are writing PL is equal to PDC1 we will rewrite as VDC1 into IDC minus PDC2 we will rewrite as VDC2 into IDC from the DC power at rectifier end and DC power at inverter end. So from those two cases I am writing PDC1 and PDC2 as PDC1 as VDC1 into IDC and PDC2 as VDC2 into IDC. And by from that equation I am commoning the parameter IDC. So after commoning the IDC, I am taking the common IDC, that is VDC1 minus VDC2 into IDC. So from this one I am writing VDC1 minus VDC2 into IDC, you know, that is VDC1 minus VDC2 by R. Substitute that equation here. So power loss PL is equal to, from this one, VDC1 minus VDC2 whole square by R. We will rewrite this equation as VDC1 minus VDC2 whole square by R. So treat this equation as equation number 9, that is the power loss. So from equation number 9, by increasing difference between VDC1 and VDC2, then the DC power flow is increased. and then DC power loss also increases. Okay, from the equation and I am telling this point. Okay, and we have to determine the power loss in the middle of the DC line. So up to now we determined the power at sending end, that is the rectifier end, and the power at receiving end, that is the receiving end, that is the inverter end, and we determined the power losses, and now we are going to determine the power in the middle of the DC line. So that is PDCM is equal to PDC1 plus PDC2 by 2. So from that one we are writing PDCM is equal to VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R. So you know already PDC1 and PDC2 values. Substitute those two values here. After substituting, we have PDCM is equal to VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R. And after completing the power in the middle of the DC line, after that, by using this power in the middle of the DC line, we have to determine the power at sending end, that is PDC1. That is PDC1 is equal to power in the middle plus half into total losses. So power in the middle is VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R plus half into total losses is, that is the power losses, that is VDC1 minus VDC2 square by R. Okay, we will rewrite that equation as VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R plus VDC1 minus VDC2 whole square by 2R. So treat this equation as equation number 11. So and after that we have to determine the power at receiving end, that is PDC2, that is PDC2 is equal to power in the middle minus half into total losses. So you know already power in the middle, that is VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R minus total losses, that is half in total losses means VDC1 minus VDC2 square by 2R. So treat this equation as equation number 12. And coming to the general equation of DC power flow. So up to now we discussed about the power at receiving end, and power at the middle of the line. And now we are moving to the general equation of DC power flow, that is PDC. That is PDC is equal to VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R plus or minus VDC1 minus VDC2 whole square by 2R. Treat this equation as equation number 13. Okay, so from this one, the positive sign, that is PDC is equal to VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R plus VDC1 minus VDC2 whole square by 2R. So this positive sign indicates that the sending end DC power, and the negative sign indicates the receiving end DC power, that is PDC is equal to VDC1 square minus VDC2 square by 2R minus VDC1 minus VDC2 square by 2R. So the negative sign indicates the receiving end DC power. Okay, so that's all for today. So in this class I discussed about the power handling capabilities of HVDC line. So in that concept we discussed about the DC current IDC and a rectifier voltage VDC1 and inverter voltage VDC2. By using these three terms we determined PDC, that is equal to PDC is equal to VDC into IDC, and after that we determined the power at sending end, that is PDC1 is equal to VDC into ID, VDC1 into ID, and after that we determined the power at receiving end, that is PDC2 is equal to VDC2 into ID, and after that we determined the power loss, that is PL, that is equal to PDC1 minus PDC2, and after that we calculated the power at middle of the line, that is PDCM, and after that we discussed power at sending end in terms of by using the power at middle of the line and the total losses at the sending end and receiving end also, and after that we discussed the general equation for the DC power flow, that is PDC. Okay, so that's those all are discussed in this class, and in the next class I'm going to discuss static power conversion principle and static choice for converter configuration. Okay, and before going to that one, I'm going to discuss in the next class, that is power handling capabilities of DC line in the theoretical manner. So in this class I discussed the power handling capabilities in the practical, in the derivation, in terms of derivation, and in the next class I'm going to discuss power handling capabilities in the theoretical manner. Okay, thank you for watching this video.